I'm going to make a quick video on this sump that I have running here. I'm just going to show a couple quick things. This is my 300 Deep Dimension. So it's about 2 years old. There's no like micro bubbles or anything. You can see little bits of dirt and dust and stuff in there, and you know, detritus and food and particles and stuff zipping around in there. But there's no, like, looking through it, it's not clouds. It's 6 feet long that way, and you can clearly see the other side of the tank, and there's nothing crazy going on. So I'll use the red glasses to filter out the crazy blue light on my frag tank. But here's my frags, you know, growing out. So just super quick. It's really not about that today though. And then we're gonna flip around back here, and we're going to look at the filter. So what's going on down here is it's basically the same standard setup, but I've added other stuff because I have a LPS system right here with the lights are off, and I have the frag tank up there. Everything all drains into the common sump. So what you're looking at is briefly a return that I've added. That's my high water mark on my LPS system. An emergency that's a common emergency on all the tanks. If anything is just way too high, right at the top running watermark. And this line over here is coming over from my frag tank system. That's also water going in. This is my skimmer chamber. It's my skimmer out and my skimmer return on my big 6-foot life reef here. A big 6-foot life reef standing here with ozone. So then what you're seeing is my refugium turned sideways, being plumbed off of my manifold into the spray bar, blowing down the back wall, which creates kind of a reverse gyre in there, through some bags of media, and goes out the other end. The emergency high water line comes out and drops in the top right here and just throws into that chamber. So there's a little bit of surging through there. If you look real close, a little bit of water is spilling that out. The rest of that water comes through the back, which I'll show in a second. And I had Jeff add another line because I wanted to keep this line for a second pump in case I wanted it. And there's actually, it's just plumbed through right there. It's come through the back of the tank and comes underneath and comes out and ends right there. So it's still bringing my fuge critters, you know, in behind my final stage of polish right here. But you actually see I have the corner clipped right here so that I don't, once it gets dirty, it doesn't cavitate the pump. I can still get enough flow through the corner to make that work. So sometimes I use the poly, sometimes I use this felt, and sometimes I just leave like a bulk media kind of there. But there's my return pump coming straight off of it and running up and powering my manifold, which is coming across right here with a couple different outputs for different stuff, and going over and going up to my left and right supplies. There's other stuff going on here, and other reactors, and a big calcium life reef calcium reactor, and a media reactor here for GFO, and a sulfur denitrator, other stuff going on. But the gist of it is what you see right there. And then, of course, I was saying, here's my ATO putting in right now. How long my ATO runs, because I got 5 gallons of evaporation off this 500-gallon tank every day. So it's putting calc and vinegar out of my 200-gallon vat back here into the tank, and that I've used instead of a refugium. I use it as like a bioreaction area where the live bacteria are all through this ceramic media stuff in that area, and then that's where the high flow is at. So you can get denitrification and de-ammonia my water. Not really nitrification, but nitrite, removing nitrite and ammonia. So here's another kind of quick shot of these 2 big bags of this stuff just suspended in here, and then water rushing across. I'll get another walk from the other end and backing up here. Here's the line that normally comes out the front. This makes a hook 90 and comes around here. This goes right in the back and over underneath that filter there. Here's the high water running down in here and dribbling a little bit. And my foam filter, I get so much air in this area that it tends to make this sponge want to float. So I just put the egg crate on the top of it instead of it, and then it doesn't float up. Especially if I shut off the system, the water fills up so fast it wants to float that up. So if the power goes off and comes back on, my foam is always turned sideways or something. And so I keep that one on this one. I don't have that problem on this side because I don't have all the additional inputs. So it just sits normal, and it's actually an oxidator, hydrogen peroxide doser sitting in that, but little line coming off one of my reactors just drops in an extra port I have right here that I don't use for anything else. Of course, the media reactors, the big calcium reactor. You pop around the corner over here and look again. Against the wall over here. So it's just coming out of the bottom right here. Even facing up, turns around and just goes up and across that way because that's the way I could fit it in the tightest. But what's running through there now is, I mean, I don't know, I don't see You can see all the flow of stuff slipping around in there. It's pretty good flow in there. But I don't get any kind of bubble, like there's no bubbles in this section. There's no micro bubbles or anything in there. No splashing, or it's just all clear, and water comes across in like a gyre and comes up over the top right up here, spills up over and goes through the algae guard, then down through the box, and any excess just goes across that emergency right here and over and down in. So the emergency hole's over here in the corner. So I don't want to put the phone in the water, but so my spray bar's underwater there by, I don't know, inch underwater maybe, something like that, an inch under, joint on my finger. But it's running pretty good. If I put it on the top, I mean, it's ripping. Let's see if I can flip it around or if it's too tight. I'll just stir up some stuff and you'll be able to see the stuff whipping through there. That's how hard it's blowing, so it's ripping pretty hard. Stirring all my stuff around, so I get pretty good flow in there. So that's just the dirt that I've scrubbled off the bar now, bits, and it comes up over and should be coming down the box over here and out the main line. That's the main supply, and the excess goes off the top. Can't see where. I mean, bubbles would have to be coming in from the manifold in here, and then spraying bubbles in here to create. There's no splashing or anything to keep the bubbles going through there the whole time. To maybe get up and over and then down in here to create a giant bubble to go on over that way. I don't know. Don't know exactly. I can't figure it out. If there's any kind of leak here or anything leaking suction air, there'd be water all over the floor or something on yours. So it's all that's there for me. It's just that port just like that. And it's pretty simple. So I'll pan back one more quick time. Got a couple pieces of rock in there and sea fans and stuff. I use that for denitrification too. Balance out the system. No ammonia spikes or anything. It's just more biomedia area. But back up again real quick and look. But there's the tank. So there's about 50 fish in there, 45, 50 fish in there. About 500 gallons total. So Soho tank here is pretty new for me. Just got him about a week ago. Well, I haven't even put most of my grow out corals in here. I'm too picky. I keep all my sensitive colonies and stuff all over here so I can trim them and frag them and sell them. But like I said, there's a 100-gallon system underneath there. There's a 100-gallon LPS system reverse lit underneath there with an old bean animal I had somewhere else. Is linked it in, and it just adds more system volume. Battery backup. Of course, my covers are off, but there's a blanket on the skimmer so the lights don't make coralline grow on my skimmer. So a blanket hanging there. But see it churning the water lines, I don't know, somewhere about here, right there, churning. So that's my system as it's running, and I've modified it and changed it around, drilled holes, added water. I'm really flowing more water through there than what it's designed for, I think, but it hasn't caused any problem. It works fine. I have to change the filter pad down in here. In fact, I have another one in a bucket. It's probably every 4 or 5 days if I use this white stuff. But if I use like this regular blue polyfloss, it lasts about 2 weeks. If I put the pink floss in there, it's probably a week, you know? Unless I get in the tank and stir it all up, which is when I use the felt. If I'm in there working, I put the felt on all the way across. Just grabs all that stuff you dig all up and keeps the water looking nice and clear. So, crystal clear.